Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Untitled Chapter TV. I'm G Talks Arsenal, your host for tonight's show. And boy, we've got a show. Obviously, we've not been on the air for a little while now, obviously due to international break. So yeah, we've got a lot of points, obviously, to discuss, a lot of things to go through. Chatting all things Arsenal. As you can see, for tonight's show, the lock-in. Get yourself a drink, get comfortable. And lock in for tonight's show. It is just me and Bobby on tonight's show. Obviously, the rest of the gang, Stephen, Lottie, Lee, Jim, they've all got the night off. So you just got to look at our two lovely faces for tonight's show. But yeah, obviously we're gonna get started. But before we do, obviously, Bobby, how you doing? How's your week been?
Yeah, man, I'm good. My week's been it's been hectic. I've finished work at 8 o'clock most days. I got in today. I finished at 8. Ate my dinner, had a quick shower, and I'm here to go and talk about Arsenal. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm good. I'm glad to get to the weekend. I'm actually working tomorrow as well, to be fair, because got a holiday to pay for. So I thought I'd do a couple of Saturdays.
Oh, nice. Where are you off to?
Just go to Thailand for 10 days. My mum lives in New Zealand, and they've just opened the borders. So I'm gonna go. She's gonna meet us in Thailand. It's like 30. So looking forward to it, man.
Quality. Yeah, just like you, I'm working tomorrow as well. I'm working on Sunday, but I'm off out tomorrow night as well. I'm going to a comedy show, so I'm going to have to be easy on the drinks because obviously I've got to get off for work on Sunday. But yeah, we was just talking off air, just saying how cold it's been. I don't know. We were all promised this heat wave, but I'm still looking for it because where I am, it's absolutely freezing, bro.
Is it? It's
cold. That's serious, man. Yeah, it's really, really cold, man. But look, you're going.
I had to defrost the car this morning. I haven't had to do that on the 1st of April for a long time.
Yeah. So. It's mad, isn't it? The thing is, we've even had snow. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not settled or laid or anything, but we've even had snow here. Do you know what I mean? Little flurries here and there. So, yeah, it's crazy. Hopefully the sun shows its face sometime soon to brighten us all up.
That's what we're all waiting for.
That's it.
It teased us last week with a couple of days.
It did.
Short. I even saw a man drive past in his convertible. I was like, you're getting brave, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, trust me. Well, look, we'll get started. I'll run the intro video and then we'll get going.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing. The first time it's happened.
Yes. Good evening and welcome back to Untitled Chapter TV. It's G Talks Arsenal and Bobby Brown, here tonight for tonight's show, the lock-in. So like I say, pour yourself a drink, get comfortable because we've got a lot to get through. We're going to be covering so many different topics because obviously we've not been on the air for a couple of weeks due to the international break. So yeah, hope you enjoy the show. A couple of comments flying in already, so we'll go over to that. We've got Big Mike's here. Big up, lads. Big up yourself. And we've got Gary all the way from the States. Don't waste a tweet. Good evening, G and Bobby. Good evening to you, Gary. So yeah, obviously, we're here to obviously preview, the Crystal Palace Arsenal game, which is obviously a massive game. I think all 9 games now between now and the end of the season are huge games for Arsenal in terms of our Champions League push. But obviously, before we get onto that, we've got a lot to get through in terms of just other topics. And to be honest, I think the whole world of football right now is talking about one thing. So that's probably the best place to start in terms of like discussion points. So the draw for the World Cup 2022, which is taking place in Qatar in November of this year, took place earlier today, about 5 p.m. UK time. And to be honest, I've got to be honest. Obviously, I'm a big England fan, born and bred in England. Obviously, I've got heritage from other parts of the world, but I'm a lion at heart. I want it to come home, dying for it to come home, want to see it come home. Not come home yet, but, we live in hope. But yeah, in terms of
disappointments, haven't we? So throughout my 40 years, it's been nothing but disappointing, hasn't it? And we've been so close over the last 2 tournaments that we feel like sometimes we're just on the edge of something, don't we, man? You know what I mean?
That's
so hopefully we'll see.
Hopefully. But yeah, so we've got the image up, and obviously credit to England's official Twitter page, because I don't want to get copyrighted for showing this image. So big up them for sharing this. Obviously, we've England were top seed side going into the tournament, and they've drawn Iran, USA, and obviously the fourth team in that group is obviously still open and all there to play for. It's going to be one of Wales, Scotland, or Ukraine. Now it's funny because this was drawn obviously in the draw earlier, and somebody actually messaged me and said it's more like a political peace summit than an actual tournament draw, because obviously you got England, Iran, USA, and obviously if Ukraine make it, in terms of political relations, it's not the best between all those countries. So, but yeah, football terms, good draw for England, no?
Very good draw for England, yeah. When you look at some of the teams that are in the World Cup, it's a favourable draw, and especially because of the trajectory that England have been on the last 6-7 years. Haven't they? They've done really well, qualified really easily, and they've always got to the semi-final or further fairly easily as well, haven't they? They've always had good draws, so hopefully we get another good draw this time, and we can go far. I don't know much about Iran. Obviously, we know a bit about America. They've got a few players, that are playing all over Europe. Obviously, that'll be interesting to see our signing, because he's the number one, isn't he? I'm not sure what his name is.
Number one. He's the number
one for America. So we'll get a closer look at him, which will be good. And I think our centre back might be part of the squad as well, mightn't he? So so that'll be good. And obviously, then Wales, Scotland, or Ukraine. Not sure who we're going to get out of that.
Out of the three, who would you fancy going through?
Who would I prefer out of the three? Probably Scotland or Wales. I think Ukraine are going to have that they're going to have a lot of people behind them, aren't they? Because of what's going on in their country. So I'd rather they got knocked out by Scotland, or they're going to play Scotland, aren't they? So I'd rather Scotland beat them. Maybe Wales, because they've got Bale, haven't they? And I think as long as we can stop him, we'll beat them. Scotland are a decent young team. You know what I'm saying? I'd probably rather Wales, but I don't think it really matters. I think that we can definitely look to be winning that group and then get a favourable draw in the next round.
Definitely. You know what it is? Like, I think if you could have handpicked, if Gareth Southgate and the lads could have handpicked, obviously as professionals, you go to the draw, you don't really care who you get. But obviously as an England fan, I want England to go far. And I know there's a bit of a split opinion in terms of going into the group stages, you'd rather be tested early than getting an early run. But I think in professional football, there are no easy games. At the same time, I think if England had been offered that group before the draw, you would have taken it. Do you know what I mean? In terms of the opposition. We're not going to tempt fate and say, England are going to get through and it's going to be an easy draw. But at the same time, Gareth and the lads must be looking at that draw, licking their lips, thinking, what, we should easily, if we apply ourselves and we play the football we can, we should cruise through that group. I just go to the comments because I know there's a couple of comments, particularly Stephen here. But Antonio, good evening, Antonio. Big up, gents. Looking forward to seeing the squad performance against Palace. Won't be easy, but we can do it and bag the points. Zaha is their danger man. We'll get onto the Palace preview a little bit later on in the show. And Stephen, as always, who cares? And I know he's talking about the World Cup. And in particular, he's talking about England. Well, you know what, Stephen? We care.
Right.
Yeah,
Ireland aren't there, are
they? Ireland are never there, bro.
Sure, Northern Ireland did better than the last one, didn't they?
Yeah. But yeah, you know what? It's all love, Stephen. It's all love, man. We're going to absolutely torture you in November when the World Cup's on the TV screens. And we're going to get you on the show as well. But yeah, just to obviously move away a little bit from England and just kind of look at the draw itself. I've put up an image of obviously the whole draw itself. In terms of, I don't know about you, but every time there's a major tournament, Bobby, I always look for a particular group and say, you know what? That's the group of death. That's the group to watch. And when the draw played out, I don't really feel like that about any of these any of these like, you know, groups. I kind of feel like they're all pretty balanced. I think some are easier than others. I think the only one that really kind of catches my eye is Group H. With Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and Korea. So just kind of give me your general thoughts about obviously the draw itself. You can touch on Group H. And just generally, like in terms of like the tournament itself, do you think there are any favourites at the moment?
Well, I think England are one of the favourites, to be honest. Italy going out was a good thing. Obviously, Brazil always turn up at tournaments, but I don't know. It's just so balanced now. It's just, I mean, France are going to be the obvious favourite for me. And for a lot of people because their team's obviously so strong. But I mean, you just never know. Belgium are doing well. Spain have looked really good recently. Holland have started playing really well. Obviously, Senegal have just won the African Cup of Nations, so they know how to win a tournament. Portugal are always dangerous because they just defend and then but now they've got they've got a lot of good attacking players now, haven't they?
Notably Diego Jota, isn't it?
They're all playing at the top of their game. So that, I mean, but that group in itself with Uruguay as well, and even Korea are a very good team. They've got some good players. Man, it's just going to be really exciting, isn't it? It's the World Cup. I look forward to World Cups just as much as I do any other type of football, because World Cups, it stays in the history of time, doesn't it? And it's where legends are made, even though it's like only 7 games. These are people that you're that will stand out in the history of time, and you'll always remember. It's great. Can't wait for it.
No, definitely. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those things where obviously it's a little bit different this year because it's in Qatar. Obviously due to the temperatures over there and the time of year and stuff. So it's been kind of, because I kind of thought about World Cups coming, time to get the beers out, the Courvoisier out, the barbecue out. And then I thought all of a sudden it's November. My missus was like, "What are you talking about? Ain't no barbecue happening in November."
It's going to be a different. It's going to be a different feel, isn't it? Having it, I think it starts November 21st and finishes December the 21st. So it's going to be different because obviously the football season is going to stop as well. But nevertheless, I think it's just going to be a good time because it's a World Cup, and you're going to have all those players, nations, fans, all mixing, all the different matchups, looking forward to different games throughout the day, because I like to try and catch every game if I possibly.
Yeah, same here. I like to watch almost every single game if I can.
Yeah. And then obviously when the knockout starts, it's like that's when the real tournament kind of starts, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just all great, isn't it? World Cup. I can't wait, man. It's gonna be great.
Definitely.
We've got a really good team, haven't we? So hopefully we can do something, man.
No, for sure. We've got Jim here. Good evening, Jim. Brazil broke the record for points to qualify recently. And I think when I was looking at the draw earlier, like a lot of people fancied them as potential favourites. I know Stephen as a neutral. That's the team that he will be following in the competition. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
Everyone loves Brazil.
Yeah, that's it. It's that team where obviously, we've got an interest in Brazil for obviously Martinelli and so forth. But yeah, in terms of Brazil, like they are almost like the neutrals' favorite, and I think that's just because of the history, the pedigree, the way they play football. There's a likable nation. But yeah, keeping on the theme of obviously international football, obviously the international break it splits opinions with regards to Arsenal fans, and I think general football fans. I think Twitter tends to kind of lose its head during international breaks because there are obviously no matches. There's there's very little kind of transfer gossip and stuff like that. So it goes a little bit crazy on there. But obviously lots of Gooners, lots of Arsenal players were involved in the international break. I've made this little collage of obviously just some of the players. You got Balogun, Saliba. Balogun bagged a couple of goals. Saliba made his debut. Martinelli was impressive. Partey's Ghana qualified. Odegaard scored an absolute beauty in one of the friendlies. You obviously had Ben White and ESR doing their thing with England. Tierney got on the score sheet, and Pepe scored an amazing goal against France. Did you watch any of the games during the international break? And just generally, what's your opinion of it? Because I know a lot of football fans absolutely hate this period, kind of breaking up the season.
Yeah, well, I don't like obviously pointless friendlies. I'm not the biggest fan of them, especially at this time of the season. If you're going for titles and you're firing cups, the last thing you want is your players going away and playing. But I mean, I did watch the England game. I watched the game against. Who was the first game? That was
Switzerland.
Yes.
Yeah, England, Switzerland.
I watched the Switzerland game and I watched a bit of the Ivory Coast game. I mean, both games that England looked okay. I thought they looked decent. A bit off it against Switzerland, but considering they made so many changes and so many different players playing to what normally plays, I thought they looked okay. I saw all the goals as well that all of our players scored. Pepe scored
same.
Pepe scored a lovely goal against France. That was nice. So hopefully that gives him a little bit of confidence coming back for us. But I think generally, having so many of our players away on international duty shows it's good signs, isn't it? Because our players are at a certain level, and I mean, one of our friends in our Arsenal chat said, Daniel W, that he did say that players going away on international duty, they're going to be picking up things from different players. I mean, I didn't agree when he said it was. I didn't agree when he said it was Martinelli, because I think Martinelli's an elite kid. I just think he's unbelievable. But some of the others, like Saliba, like Balogun, like you know, I mean, other guys are captains, so obviously he's going to be a bit of a leader. But some of the other boys, he's going to do nothing but wonder, especially like the likes of ESR, who hasn't been playing much for Arsenal as well, but he's still getting selected for England. That'll be a massive confidence booster for him. So
definitely,
I definitely think that international duty for our players is good, because it shows that they're at a certain level, and hopefully it gives them the confidence to go forward and do more for Arsenal. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. You know what it is with the international break? Like, I do understand what like a lot of Gooners feel and a lot of Arsenal fans feel. Like, obviously, like, you know, when the season's in full swing, sometimes it does seem like really pointless, you know, to kind of have these international friendlies that really don't mean very much. At the same time, obviously missing football, I did tune into most of the games and caught up with the highlights of most of them. And I tell you know what really impressed me about the England performance against Ivory Coast. Now, obviously, we take into context that, you know, the Ivory Coast were down to 10 men, and obviously they did tire. But the Ivory Coast looked really, really good against France.
Yeah,
I watched the French game with the Ivory Coast, and they gave France one hell of a game. They really, really did. And they were really unfortunate to not only lose that game, but to absolutely take nothing away from it. For me, for large parts of that game, they were the better side. And obviously, I know it wasn't a full-strength French side, but they still had some real big players on the pitch. So I thought the game against the Ivory Coast for England was going to be a real test. And to be honest, we pretty much cruised through that game. So I was really impressed with that. But I think just in general, I think all the Arsenal players had really good international breaks. From what I've heard so far, no injuries, touch wood. So that's always good. But yeah, like you said, I think players playing for their country is very, very important. And like you said, it just kind of emphasizes and epitomizes just how, you know, good and how much potential some of these players have at Arsenal. So playing for your country, I don't see how you can see it as a detrimental thing. It can only be a positive thing.
100%. If you think about our squads like back in the day, that all of them they were stacked with us. Our squads stacked with international players. But just to touch on the point that you made before about Ivory Coast, and that they played well against France, because I think I watched about like the last 25 minutes of that France Ivory Coast game. They were all over them, and I think that I did make a point about this, about the England team, with a friend who's a manager of a non-league team. And he was talking about how Southgate's really boring, and he thinks he should be getting more out of these players, all that kind of stuff. And to some extent, I agree with him. But I think what Southgate's done, because I think what you've got to also remember is Southgate was part of World Cup squads and Euro squads that failed, with players like Beckham, with Gaza. He had
he experienced it firsthand.
He was with better squads than what he's coaching. Even though everyone says that we've got good players, we've got good young attacking players, but we've probably got one world-class player in Harry Kane. I wouldn't really say anybody else was. Probably Raheem Sterling's up there as well. So for me, I think what he's done in getting us to a semi-final. I mean, a lot of people say we had an easy run and all that kind of stuff, but it's still the World Cup. It's still the best. You've still got to get there. He got to the semi-final. Maybe he should have done better against Croatia. We lost it, but getting to the semi-final is better than we've ever done before, hasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And then to get to the final, I mean, we were very unlucky to lose on penalties. Maybe he should have changed the tactics in the final, but the way that he's been playing is it's almost to me like he's recognised that England, we're not good. You know, we've never been good. And the best way for us to, I think he's kind of learned off what Portugal did. And Portugal basically shithoused their way to a Euro final off the back of Ronaldo. That was actually got injured in the final. It was some unknown kid that scored the winner. But what they did in that tournament was just make sure not to lose. And that's what it seems like Southgate's doing, concentrating on more and concentrating on trying to please us footballing public that want to play this great attacking football. He just wants to win. And
it's about winning games, man.
He's being pragmatic and he's doing it well. You know, everyone's slagging off Maguire and all the defender players that we've got, but if they're playing with Rice and Phillips sat in front of them, denying the other team space, it's no wonder that we're going to get to finals when we have got the likes of Sterling and Harry Kane and guys that can go and finish off teams. And hopefully in this World Cup, he'll play the same way, just play really defensive and let Saka because I think he'll play Saka.
Let the attackers do the business.
He likes Saka, yeah. I think he's going to let Saka, Sterling, and Kane go and just win the games for us. That's what I'm seeing will hopefully happen. Because, you know, playing defensive football wins your tournaments. The best thing to do at tournaments, if you don't concede normally. That's why Germany always do well in tournaments. They play pragmatic football. You know what I'm saying? Brazil play beautiful football, but that's their way. They've always done it. You know. You know, I think Southgate's found a way, and he's going to stick to it. And hopefully it brings us success.
We'll see. We will see. We'll see.
You're yearning for success, man. It's something.
No, definitely. But you know what? At the end of the day, like I think, obviously, at this point, we're going to move on to things at Arsenal. Because obviously, before we, you know, get into enjoying, obviously, you know, the World Cup and potentially, you know, hopefully seeing England go far, if not win it. Obviously, we got the big matter of obviously Arsenal's next 9 games, you know, Champions League push, etc. So we'll go to the comments and then we'll move swiftly on to Arsenal matters. So we've got Gary here. Obviously, Gary, based in the States, USA, laugh out loud. We've got Keith. Good evening, Keith. Evening, saying evening all. And we've got Gio Guna. Big up, Gio Guna. Cheers, brothers. Cheers to you, man. But yeah, so we're going to get onto matters of Arsenal. And the first place I think we're going to start is I'm going to bring this image up. Now, I don't know about you, Bobby, but, you know, it's one of these things with the kits when the kits are released or leaked and stuff like that. A lot of the time, I always say to myself, you know, for years, you know, when we weren't, well, we're still not massively doing well, but when we weren't doing well, I used to always say to myself, you know, I'm not going to buy it. And, you know, lo and behold, I always find somehow, some reason I get into it and I buy at least one of the tops. Some seasons I bought 3, some seasons I've bought 2. Now, these images have been leaked. Now, I don't know about you. I'll get your opinions on it. But for me, the black and gold kit is the one. Like, this kit, for me, is absolutely beautiful. And you know what? My opinion is that take my money now. If I could pre-order this shirt now, I would have already done it. In terms of the pink one, not really my color. However, obviously, I've shown the missus, I've shown my teenage daughter. They absolutely love it, so I know I'll be purchasing a couple of those. But yeah, just give me your thoughts on these leaked images of Arsenal's kits next season. You know, what's your favorite? What do you think of them? Just go for it.
Well, straight away, my favorite is obviously the black one, but I've seen a couple of versions. I've seen a couple of versions of a leaked black kit, so I don't really get too carried away when I see leaked kits until they're kind of official, you know, because we see so many. But if these are close to the new kits that are going to come out, I like that black one. Yeah, that's one I'll definitely be purchasing. It's different. It's it's lovely, isn't it? It really is. The home one, I've got so many home shirts. That for me, even spoke about that the other night on
the stream.
I'm not a massive fan of the colours. Not a massive fan of the colours, but it's a nice shirt. I like the red undertone on the sleeves. With the pink, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of the pink tone. If you know what I mean. Maybe if it was a brighter pink, maybe then it'd be probably too close to the red. But I'm not a big fan of the pink, especially with the blue on the neck as well. It's just a bit awkward. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the pink one, put it that way. But it'll probably look nice on when we win it. Yeah. So
yeah, that's it, and that's what I think it is. I think, you know, regardless of what the shirts look like, you know, whether or not you they come out and you have your first instinct, oh, I like it, I don't like it. You want to rock your colors in it. That's the most important thing. And obviously, you want to rock your colors even more when you're doing well. So I think, you know, these next 9 games are crucial. But yeah, that black and gold one is just absolutely phenomenal. Like I don't really make a point. Like when you see when you see the kits leaked or released, I don't really make a point of kind of tweeting about it or anything like that. But when I saw the black and gold one, I was just like, yeah, take my money now. Like literally. That kit is just a thing of beauty. So I'll definitely be purchasing that. I think my bank account's going to be a little bit lighter come August of this year. But yeah, so that's everything with regards kits and so forth. Now, we're going to move on to something that, to be honest, is inevitable when you're an Arsenal fan. You know, one of my favorite sayings, you'd have to be on another planet to not know that Arsenal is linked with, you know, players, you know, of a certain caliber. And I think, you know, we all have our kind of views and opinions on, you know, last summer in terms of the recruitment that was done. Not many of us were massively happy, but we've all been proven wrong. And I will go as far as to say they have, regardless of whether we finish 4th or not, they have proven us wrong, because those players were not bench players. They were not squad players. They were players that came into the first team. They've improved the first team and they're excelling. You know, I'm big and man enough to say that. I didn't fancy quite a few of the signings, but they are doing the business. Now, over the last kind of week or so since we've not had Premier League football, I think, you know, at the end of the day, these are rumours. The 3 players that I'm going to bring up are rumours. I'm going to bring them up individually and we're going to discuss, you know, what they're like, etc. But I think what is certain by these rumours, it tells us the type of player, or at least one of the type of players that we're looking at this summer, and that is, you know, a winger stroke inside forward stroke forward. So I'm going to bring up the first image. Obviously, you know, if you watch the Premier League, if you're an Arsenal fan, a Leeds fan, or just a fan of football, you will know exactly who this gentleman is. Rafinha, who plays for Leeds. What are your thoughts with regards links to Rafinha? And is he, you know, of all the kind of players in terms of forwards, you know, wingers that we're linked with, would you be happy for us to like kind of, you know, make him an addition to the squad in the summer?
Personally, I'm not a big fan. I know a lot of people are, but I'm not a big fan of too many flair players, to be call them.
Yeah.
And like, since we was kind of, I think we was kind of linked with him. Well, one of my friends, a Liverpool fan, and they were linked with him, weren't they? I think last summer.
Yeah.
So I watched a bit of him like this season, and he's very inconsistent. He was poor against us. So I don't know. The links as well. Whenever we're linked with big players, I never start to believe it unless it's come from certain sources, and it hasn't come from them sources. So for me, I don't know. Maybe we might have asked the question because he's Brazilian, but whether he doesn't seem to me like a Mikel Arteta type of signing. When you look at all the players that we've signed, that he signed, he hasn't signed any flair kind of players, has he? Really? He seems to sign certain type of characters, and it doesn't seem to me like he's the kind of character that he's going to.
So do you think, would you like, is your gut instinct kind of telling you that, you know, maybe these links are just trying to like maybe, you know, boost up his profile, maybe get him a move to Barcelona? Because he seems to be heavily linked to Barcelona at the moment.
Well, a lot of them kind of links aren't they? Normally, a lot of the time it's the agent doing the work and stuff. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with him in the summer. But I can't see us signing him, especially with us having Saka and Pepe already anyway. And he plays on the right side, doesn't he? I see us signing more. He can play left wing up front. So I think maybe they're just. I think as well, agents now are going to throw our name into a lot of stuff, aren't they? Because they know that we're going to be in the market to sign players over the next couple of windows. So chances are we're going to be linked with everybody and their dog.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But then you know how it goes. It seems like we end up signing players that we have no clue that we was going to sign.
Well, this is it. This is it. The only thing I would say about Rafinha is I've heard this this phrase floated about a lot. Purple patch, purple patch player, like a player that they will go through a period in the season, kind of similar to what like Willock did when he was at Newcastle in that season. They kind of go through a flurry of games. They get either a lot of assists or a lot of goals. But you mentioned the word consistency. In terms of, I personally don't watch him enough. And don't follow Leeds enough to really say, would he come into this Arsenal side and actually improve the team? The only thing I'd say on it with regards to Rafinha is that obviously he is playing in a very poor Leeds side this season. They're not the Leeds team that kind of came up and kind of rode heads in the Premier League. They've kind of been somewhat found out in terms of their style of play, the expansive football and so forth. Lack of kind of defensive stability. The only thing that makes me kind of take a little look at him as a player is because from what's being reported online on Twitter and journalists is that he might have like somewhat of a release clause in his contract where if Leeds actually go down, we could pick him up for like 20-25 million. Now, would that potentially change your view on him joining Arsenal, or would he just not be at the kind of top of the list in terms of bringing in a winger?
No, because the players that we've been linked with seem to be younger, different profiles, and a lot cheaper, and around about that price anyway.
Yeah.
So no, even if it was at 25 million, I mean, if it was 75 million, I mean that's just ridiculous because it's just not that good.
Yeah.
So now he's just not a player that's ever. He's done a couple of good things. The only player at Leeds that I'd have is Jack Harrison. I don't know if you know about him. That boy's exceptional. He's brilliant. He's consistent. I think he scored a hat-trick against West Ham. He's not really a goal scorer, but he gets goals. Got a sweet left foot. He works hard. He's young. He grew up in the Man City academy. He's their best player. He's their best player. They get relegated, and I could see Mikel Arteta buying him. He reminds me of a Youngberg. He works hard. He takes all their set pieces. You always, when you watch Leeds, he's prominent. He does a lot in the fight. He does a lot defensively. He impresses me a lot more than Rafinha. Rafinha looks the prettiest because he does that left.
Brazilian, though, isn't he? Brazilian.
And he's got the tape around his wrist and the tattoos, all that carry on. But Jack Harrison to me is a much better player, and I want us to buy him, to be honest. He's someone that we should have in our squad. I think he's 22, 23, grew up in the right way. So might even actually know him because he was at Man City. So he might know him. He might have even seen him. But and I was looking at him, so I think he signed 2 years ago. So because he was on loan from Man City, and then they made it permanent when he came. I think the season before he came up, or the season that came up, he signed a 3-year deal, a 4-year deal. So he's only got 2 years left. He should be someone that we should be looking at for me, not Rafinha.
Okay. So in terms of Leeds, we need to think more outside the box. You're saying, no problem.
Well, I think that's how I'm thinking anyway.
Yeah. No, 100%. If you look at the recruitment from last summer, that's exactly the way Arsenal and the recruitment team is thinking. Gary here saying the last 4 incoming windows, Willian, need I say any more? Odegaard, Ryan, the 6 and nothing. Have we hit the bottom? Or is there a lower level we can go? I'm hope for another 6 or big 3, right? Well, only time will tell with regards, obviously, the transfers and who we will recruit. Gary's saying here, Rafinha doesn't get enough chances. When he does his best. The man needs more service. Okay, that's an opinion right there. Next up is, I'm going to bring up a player, Cody Gakpo. And I have to be honest, this is a player that I've not really seen play a lot, mainly because of the fact that I don't watch the Dutch league. And to be honest, the first time I heard about this guy was flicking through my timeline. Obviously, when we're linked with a player, I do what most Arsenal fans do. I go on Transfer Market. I look at how old he is, what he's won, how many games he's played, how many assists, how many goals. Market value. Transfer Market's brilliant for that. It gives you kind of a real kind of general idea in terms of what the player's like. Then you head over to YouTube and you watch your YouTube clips, etc., which obviously as Arsenal fans and all football fans, you've got to be careful because they can make anybody look like a worldie. But this guy, by all accounts, is one of the up and coming talents across European football. He's very raw in terms of like the kind of player he is and how he plays. He's got a good physical build. He's quick, right foot, left foot. He can play on the wing. My cat's meowing crazy in the background. He kind of reminds me of a player who's playing on the wing, but that potentially could transition into a centre forward. But what's your opinions of this guy, Cody Gakpo?
I've actually seen him play a couple of times. He's
okay.
Because one of my son's friends through his agent, they've got the same agent. He's Nani Maduka. He actually plays.
Wow. Okay.
So I've watched PSV a couple of times and seen this boy. He's played on the left a couple of times. He's played up front a couple of times, and he didn't stand out. He wasn't amazing, but I haven't watched PSV for about 4 or 5 months. I'll be honest. It was right at the beginning of the season. I watched it when Nani was doing really well. So I just watched like 70 minutes in like 5 of their games. And he didn't stand out. But for me, I always judge the forwards by the defenders that they're playing against. And in that division, the defenders aren't great unless you're in the top teams. And the teams that he was playing against. So the one game he scored a couple, but they weren't great goals. He didn't have to do a lot to score them. So, but he reminds me a bit of Isaac. He reminds me of a younger Isaac.
Okay.
He's got good feet. He looks quite tall. I don't know if he's like 6.
Yeah, he does.
But yeah, he looks like a good young prospect. He looks exactly the type of player that Mikel Arteta would want to buy because he can mold him into something. I don't know much about the voice. I don't know if he's got a good personality, if he's a good boy, if he goes to church, if he's got a girlfriend, all that kind of stuff. If he's going to say true. But the fact is, he's wearing the captain's armband there. That says a lot about his character, doesn't it? If he's already given the captain's armband and he's 19, 20. So it could be.
You look at the likes of Odegaard. The same thing with Lokonga. He was captain in Anderlecht over there in the Belgian league. Yeah.
One thing I've always said about what this manager seems to be doing is buying characters as well as buying talent. 100%. And if he fits that kind of what he's looking at, I see him slotting in. I see him working him into what he wants him to be, sort of thing, But yeah, man, I'm excited by whoever we sign, to be honest, because it's going to be Mikel Arteta that's going to be making them better, isn't it?
Definitely. You know what it is like with the thing with me is like obviously like when you're on Twitter and stuff, like I think despite all the different positions within the Arsenal team, I think that the real emphasis and the real spotlight is going to be on obviously our striker search this season, this window. And that's mainly due to the fact, obviously, the situation with regard to Aubameyang leaving for Barca, Lacazette, in terms of like what we can read into, it doesn't look like he's going to stay, even though I've warmed to the idea of him staying. You've got Eddie who's leaving on a free. So really and truly, obviously Balogun, is getting some goals now. So hopefully he can have a really good end to the season. But really and truly, we're going to need at least 1, if not 2 strikers come summer. So I think a lot of the excitement, a lot of the enthusiasm with regards to this window is going to be who we sign up front. Do we sign, 1 striker, 2 strikers, and what's going to be the caliber of that type of strike? And obviously we're hearing the names of like, some of us are dreaming big with Haaland. Some of us are looking at, Darwin Núñez. I know you're a fan. I'm a fan of him. And there are some names, kind of floating around still, like Calvert-Lewin, Tony, etc. But I think with me, what it is, I don't think there's a single striker in the market right now in world football that completely convinces me. The only striker for me that does that, if I have to be completely honest, is Haaland. He's the only one that really, really, if we signed him, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, boom. We're signing a player that's going to instantly come into the team. And don't get me wrong, I know a lot of those players will improve the side. But I mean, for me, as much as his game is still developing, I can just tell from watching him that he's going to be a complete forward. However, having said that, I'm like you. I'm excited about any player that Arsenal buy. And I'll tell you why. One reason is because of the recruitment last summer. Because I was sitting there and I was vexed week in, week out with the type of players that we were buying. Like, you just need to go back and watch the shows. I was vexed. And I've clearly been proven wrong. So that's one reason why I'm excited, is because of the type of player, the type of character that Arteta and Co are signing. So they have in a way boosted my confidence in them in terms of the players that they're attracting and the players they're bringing to the club. But also, secondly, if you look at some of the greatest strikers that have played for Arsenal Football Club, many of them have not come into the door as finished articles, or many of them have come into Arsenal with a point to prove. You got Henry, who we signed from Juventus, wasn't really a winger, wasn't really a striker. To be honest, I remember, maybe I'm a bit reactionary, bro, because I remember playing Saturday and Sunday league football, and absolutely ripping into Thierry Henry, literally, because he was the first 5 or 6 games, his touch was poor. He for me, he just looked like a bigger Walker. Like, it's just grab the ball, run. Like, I couldn't see it. I literally couldn't see it. And then when you look at the likes of Kanu, obviously Kanu was a great player, but he had his issues with his heart, so we got him on a free transfer. When you look at Wiltord, nobody really knew who he was. He was playing in the French league. Van Persie picked up for 2.5 million from the Dutch league. Again, nobody really knew who he was. So for me, it's like, I understand we're getting excited by the likes of Haaland and Nunes and some of these players, DCL. But for me, you know what? It's like, I'm not going to react the way maybe I have in the past if we go out there and sign a striker that maybe doesn't, maybe isn't great on FIFA. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just give the guy time, let him come in, let him get settled and see what he can do. Because I got really excited about Aubameyang, and yes, he did the business, but look how that ended. I got really excited about Lacazette and what he was doing in Lyon. And don't get me wrong, I wouldn't say he's been a disaster, because I think he offers the club and the team a lot. But for me, he wasn't the goal scorer that we thought we were getting in terms of the 20-25 goals a season. So I'm very much open-minded about the whole striker search. Yes, I want a Haaland. Yes, I want a Nunes. At the same time, I'm very much open-minded in terms of who we're going to bring in and who we will bring in. And I think Arsenal fans, all of us, should pretty much be the same. I think we should just support the club, support the board, support the manager and Edu. Let them do their thing, because at the end of the day, do you know what I mean? Ramsdale, Ben White, Tavares, Tomiyasu, Odegaard, the vast majority of those players, if Arsenal fans were being honest with themselves, and I'm not including you in this, Bobby, because I know you weren't like most of us, but the vast majority of us were absolutely spitting bullets last summer when we were signing these players. We were completely underwhelmed by them. So I think, you know what, we just got to give the guys a chance, let them do their job, and I'm sure they're going to get us, top notch, if not 2 top notch strikers. The last player I'm going to bring up, and I have to be completely honest, bro, I didn't know who this player was. I had to Google him, bro. This name is Luis Sinisterra. Now, I hope I've pronounced that right. I've probably absolutely massacred the guy's name, but he's a Colombian player, Colombian winger, predominantly plays on the left-hand side, and he plays in the Dutch league. I've even forgotten the team that he plays for. Feyenoord. However, and that was where that's where we got Percy from, weren't it? Feyenoord. Yeah. So
I used to play for him.
Yeah. So talk to me about this Keezer. Like, what are your thoughts? He's a typical. I would say he's like this. He's a typical Wenger signing, isn't it? Or Arteta signing, that nobody's ever heard of him. But if you look him up, he looks a decent player, and you know what? He could potentially be a player that will take the Premier League by storm.
Well, I don't know anything about him. I've never heard of him, never seen him. So I had to Google him when we were linked to see what. And he looks a player. I looked at all his YouTube compilations. His numbers weren't great in his first few seasons in Feyenoord, but this season he's been brilliant. I'm surprised there hasn't been a lot more noise about him.
Have you seen the numbers? It's like 29 goal contributions in like 38 games.
30 games, yeah. His numbers are ridiculous, but he hasn't got 19 goals as well.
19 goals and I think like 10 assists or something like that.
Yeah, but his clips, he looks a player.
Yeah,
and
very direct.
But what I like about him is his ball recovery. Yeah, I don't know if you saw. There's a couple of clips that I watched of him. He over dribbles, but then wins the ball back straight away. 100%. He seems very tenacious.
He's got that work ethic.
Yeah. I was saying in the chat that I think that now it seems like we're signing players off an up to stat, like a database. If they fit a certain profile, if they like have a certain amount of sprints, a certain amount of ball recoveries, a certain amount of how hard do they run, how fast do they run, do they keep possession when they're running, all that kind of stuff. If they do that multiple times in the game, we'll have a look at you. And looking at him in the game, it seemed like he was very prominent in everything that Feyenoord are doing. Obviously, I'm going to be now watching Feyenoord's next couple of games just to see.
100%, bro.
just to see what he's all about. Do you know what I mean? But again, I'm excited, man. He's gonna get some wrong. We know he's gonna get some wrong, and I've said before that there's gonna be bumps. We're gonna lose some games. I'm waiting for that big spell where we have a spell of bad results because he's gonna come at some point. Whether it comes this season, whether it comes the start of next season, it's gonna come because we're still in our rebuild. But but he's gonna get a lot right. And if you look at the summer, I mean, even now Cedric's looking like a good signing because Tomiyasu's been injured for the last 10
he's the one we've been relying on.
He's been the one not only been relying on, but he's actually a decent player. He's become a part of the 11 now. People can't really say, I'm desperate for Tommy to come back because you haven't really missed what Tommy's been doing because Cedric's been doing his job, So man, I'm excited about this boy. I mean, if we get him, we're going to get some players, aren't we? So, but touching on what you were saying before with the striker, I'm exactly the same. I want Darwin, I wanted Vlahovic, I want Haaland, but if they get some unknown guy from the African Premier League who they think is the player, I'll get behind it because there was one player that I wasn't behind, and that's Odegaard because I thought that we was all in for Maddison. So I didn't see Odegaard. I didn't think he was great when he came to us last season.
Same.
So he was probably the only one out of all the players that I didn't really, I wasn't really backing. Everyone else I was, but I couldn't see Odegaard. So I hold my hands up with him because I've been in a massive flip flop where Odegaard's concerned. But these young boys now that we're being linked with, I don't see the other clubs doing any business anymore because they've done a lot of their business. Liverpool got their front five. It's all about Salah contracts now. Man City are just buying kids all over. They just bought that Kake and they've just bought that Paolo. So it's all about us now, isn't it? Let's just get the players and let's get to that top table. You know what I mean? Because that's where we deserve to be. Definitely. More so than Man City and Chelsea. Everyone's talking about them like they're big clubs. They ain't big clubs, mate. We're the big club. I mean, and we'll be back 100%. The thing is, Mikel knows that. Mikel knows that. He talked about it in his first interview.
Yeah.
Knows the Arsenal heritage. He played for us before he went to Man City just to learn from. He didn't go to Man City because he wanted to be part of Man City. He went there to learn from Pep. And Pep elevated the whole of Man City, didn't he? And he elevated. Mikel was a part of that because as soon as Pep went there, he got Mikel straight away. So where Pep's got to, it's because of Mikel. People forget that he was just putting out cones. Pep asked for Mikel to come and join him. And he joined him for a reason, and they've got there. He created that success together. So he knows exactly what he's doing at a club now that he's actually got an attachment with. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to take us places, man. And looking at his interview the other day, it sounds like he wants to be here for years.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, definitely the way he's speaking, it basically says, he wants to build a dynasty, man. Let's hope he can do it.
You know what I mean?
Let's hope he can do it, man.
We're going to get bored soon.
Definitely. NDB30 TV, nice to see you in the chat. Evening to you. We've also got Gary here again. No one can complain about most of the incomings under Arteta, but if we go out and get another centre back, I'll be disappointed. Forward and midfielder, please.
Man City have 4 centre backs.
Because at the moment we've obviously got Ben, Gabriel, Holding, Saliba coming back. I know Tomiyasu can play there. Obviously, we've got Mari on loan, so there's going to be some movement with regards to centre backs.
We need to have basically 2 players in every position.
We
want to be a big club, but I've heard Mikel say that in an interview. He says, big club.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. Definitely. He knows what he's doing. What I like about him, you know what I like about him as well, what's really impressed me before we move on, because I don't want to go off topic, but even when things were really, really bad and results weren't going our way, he's got such a calming, confident disposition. Like, even when we were all losing our heads, Do you know what I mean? And confidence was low, results were bad, goal difference was non-existent, and he was just adamant, confident, like it was just there. Do you know what I mean? And it's like I was just thinking at the time, this geezer's a fraud. Because I was just thinking, how can this guy be so confident? Like he's lost his mind. Because I don't understand how this guy is so cool and confident about what he wants to do and how he wants to do it and how we're going to get there when everything's just falling apart around him. That is a real quality.
He knew what was coming, man. He knew what was coming.
Yeah, he did indeed. And you know what? As we're on Arteta, we got to talk about the big man himself, even though we've been talking about him probably for the last 5-10 minutes. But yeah, so the news broke today that Arteta won, manager of the month. I think it was 4 games. 4 games. I think it was. We beat Watford. We beat Watford. I think it was Leicester. Lost to Liverpool, and then beat Villa. So obviously, of the 4 games, 9 points. Obviously, still hitting 4th spot in the league. I think he's one of only 2 managers that have won it twice this season. Him and Pep are the only 2 managers that have won it twice. I think what's that?
Ever in a season.
Yeah, ever in a season. And I also think he is either joint or the only manager that's been nominated 4 times for the award this season. Something along those lines. So yeah, obviously this image came up when Arsenal tweeted it out earlier in the day. And I thought, you know what, it was really special. If you kind of watched the clip that Arsenal released, he didn't just win the award. It wasn't just a picture of Mikel Arteta. He literally gathered the whole coaching staff at London Colney, got them all, and literally held that up. And for me, it just kind of epitomizes the type of man he is. In terms of he obviously accepted that award, but in many ways he wanted to send a message, to Arsenal fans and to the Premier League and everyone watching, rival fans, other players, etc. Just to say that we've deserved this, but this was a joint effort. This is a relationship, a family that we're building at Arsenal. Obviously, I know you're full of praise of Arteta. I know you're going to be saying that he's fully deserving of this award, but just how impressed have you been with Arteta? Obviously, because the season did not start well, and obviously the Arteta out fans were in full force. There are times when I've flip-flopped between him. I've never said I want him gone, but I have confidently said that I don't believe he's the man for the job. I would never ever call for an Arsenal manager to get sacked. I just don't think it helps in terms of the narrative, and I don't really want to jump on a bandwagon. But just how impressed, because I know you've been Arteta through and through, for the bad times, now enjoying it through the good times, and I can tell by the smile on your face. So just how impressed have you been with this guy, and obviously the fact that he won the award this month for the impressive form of Arsenal.
Well, it's totally deserved, isn't it? Let's face it, because of what he's done to the whole picture of Arsenal since he's taken over, and it's the results are testimony to that.
Yeah,
I actually put a tweet out that no other manager has ever included his whole staff when accepting the manager of the month award ever.
Never.
None of it. He's actually recognised his whole team, which
Yeah.
says more about him than it does about anything else, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's a team effort. The only time I've ever doubted him was with the Martinelli thing.
Yeah.
But now look, I've got massive egg on my face because the boy's in the Brazil squad, and he'll probably end up being the star at the World Cup. You watch.
Yeah.
Because he's that good, And under Mikel Arteta's tutelage, he's going to get even better. Being around Brazilian players, he's going to get even better. His confidence is going to go through the roof. He's had some fantastic performances this season as well, so it's going to be amazing. But back to Mikel Arteta, what can I say that I haven't already said? Changed. It's like watching what Wenger did when Wenger came. I'll be honest, I've said it before. When Wenger came, he changed everything. He straight away he got rid of one of my favourite players, Paul Merson. First thing he did, he gone. See you later, mate. Bye. He got all the rest. He got all the rest to stop drinking, eating pasta. He changed the whole culture of Arsenal Football Club back then.
Yeah.
He changed the whole culture. And then what did he do? He went and bought unknown players that we were all really pissed off about. I was really happy. I was really happy. I was really happy.
So true, you know.
I was really happy about Thierry Henry, by the way, because I liked Henry. He won the World Cup, the '98 World Cup.
Yeah.
He should have started in the final, but they dropped him for a striker called Stefan Givash, who actually went to Newcastle.
It was an absolute flop.
Totally flopped. He was rubbish.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that whole period was just it was like it was just a breath of fresh air. Yeah, you know. Don't forget, remember he went and bought players like Petit,
Vieira, and
Grimandi, Edu, and Alka was 17-year-old, 500 grand.
500 grand. Yeah,
I'm saying, so he was buying players, and we were all like, "What the fuck is going on? Who the fuck are you? What are you doing? What are you buying?" And then, the rest is history.
Even Ian Wright said, "Arsenal who?"
Yeah, exactly. It's in his book. So
yeah,
look at Look, for me, it just looks the same. I can feel because I had that, from when the bad period of when at the end of Wenger for me was from 2007 onwards. For me, he was poor. How Fergie adapted and changed to Mourinho and then to when Mancini came. He kind of adapted and still won. Wenger just sat back and just almost like started giving his players away. And he didn't almost seemed like that competitive edge had gone from him, So, for 13 years, I was really unhappy, really moany, really, not very positive. Then Wenger left, and I started to become positive again. I backed Emery because he had good pedigree, even though it didn't work out. And then I've been behind Arteta, apart from the Martinelli part. So to see what he's done, and don't forget, I go to the stadium as well. 2 years ago, you go to the stadium, even in the beginning of Arteta's reign. It was bad. The 70 minutes. It's like 2/3 full. Everyone sleeps if you're losing. Or if you're playing ball, it was toxic. Everyone's arguing in the bars, in the stairs. Everyone was just. It was just horrible. It was horrible. I stopped driving down there to go. Fast forward 12 months, he's totally changed the place. Emirates. I think we've got the most home. I think we've got the most home points this season. Emirates is just. Emirates was rocking when we lost against Liverpool 2-0. It was still rocking. We were still singing. He's totally changed everything. The culture at the club. I've said it. I've said it all. I'm getting bored. I just want to see the fruits of his hard.
No, I hear you, man.
He's an elite young manager who's learned off a guy who basically controlled football for 10 years with his his Bayern Munich team and now his Man City team. He's been some people call him the GOAT. He's not my GOAT manager, but he's been the best manager around, hasn't he? Him
definitely.
The best manager around, most consistent for the last 10 years. So he's been there and he's learned off the best. He knows exactly what he's going to do now. I'm so excited. It's going to be great. It's going to be a good time. Hopefully, good times.
Definitely. You know what? It's funny that you should say that. Because I watched. I think it was last weekend. I sat down and watched the Amazon Prime documentary about Arsene Wenger, The Invincible. And you know what? I tell you what, it was really emotional. I watched it and I actually found myself emotional. Like I didn't cry, but I kind of found myself like moved by it. Because sometimes like with time you forget. Do you know what I mean? Like, as time goes on, sometimes you kind of forget the journey, that Arsene Wenger had at Arsenal. And for me, as an Arsenal fan, Arsene Wenger's kind of like, Arsenal for me. I was born in '84. So it was like, by the time I was watching football, do you know what I mean? And kind of getting into football, I only really knew Wenger as the manager. Do you know what I mean? So it was just really interesting to watch it. So big up Arsene Wenger. It was really interesting to watch. Like when he came, it kind of spoke about his childhood when he came to the club. Like you said, the players he brought in, the culture shift that he did, not just with Arsenal but the whole of English football.
He deserves
and it was really amazing. And obviously, they went through the glory times, winning doubles, etc., Premier League titles, and then obviously. I was a bit surprised because they did actually focus quite a bit on the way he left the club, and obviously the energy from sections of the fan base, and And I was surprised at just how much of that they actually covered. But I think it was important in terms of like obviously the way he left the club and the way he felt. But he was phenomenal, particularly in the early days. And I think, you know, I've never really thought about, you know, Wenger and Arteta in terms of the similarities, but it is very similar. You know, when Arsene Wenger took over, nobody really knew who he was. I know he had a lot of experience, but it was in world football, you know, in Japan and so forth, you know, and very similar to Arteta in that, you know, there were massive question marks when he came to the club. You know, why are we signing him? Like, Arteta, who? Like, he's not even an Arsenal legend. Why are we giving him the job? And when you look, even when you mention the recruitment in terms of the players, you know, very similar. There are massive similarities between the two. So yeah, I just wanted to say that because I'd never really thought of it like that. But if you actually look at, you know, the kind of uncertainty in the way he's joined the club, if you look at the recruitment in terms of the type of players and characters that he's targeting, and if you see what he has done to, you know, in terms of the culture shift at the club, you know, the similarities are there and they are massive.
Yeah.
Let's just hope that, you know, he obviously goes on to be as and even more successful than Arsene Wenger himself. But yeah, no, that was, I never really thought about that, bro. But that really kind of, yeah.
I went through it. I was
yeah.
When Wenger came, I would have been 20, 18, 21, something
Yeah.
around about that age. So,
what year did he actually join Arsenal? What was the official year?
97, wasn't it? Because
97. Yeah. See,
he came at the end of the 97.
I was like 12, man. I think like 12. Yeah.
He came halfway through the 97 season, and then won the league, won the double in the 98 season.
Yeah.
And then obviously we won it again 2000, and they got obviously again.
Yeah.
Obviously again.
Yeah.
2001 too at Old Trafford. Obviously the Invincibles. Yeah. We should have won a lot more, but
yeah.
Abramovich and his dirty money.
And you know, have you seen the documentary?
Pardon me?
Have you seen the documentary?
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah. They even speak about that. They speak about Abramovich coming.
Exactly. He lost his passion when Abramovich came because he was like, I'm not going to compete with that because it goes against what I believe in. You know? So and it was poor. It was okay for a few years. We had the Santa Gazol, all those years, but then to strengthen others and the way that we did, I thought he could have done more. You know, he could have he could have put up a bit of a fight. Instead, he just kind of gave up, and it was just a bit. I always respected that.
100%.
Because he gave me so many good times. He gave me so many good times.
He gave his life to the club, man.
Oh, totally. You can't
absolutely. Like when he was talking in the documentary about, like, you know, he wished he'd had more children. He wished he had left and stuff like that. I just thought to myself, like, you know, because there were times when I was raging. Do you know what I mean? And so when I watched that documentary, I kind of felt bad. Like this man literally devoted his life, and the way he left the club under the circumstances and don't get me wrong, you know, the Arsenal fans, we turned up in force, you know, on his last day, and we gave him a send off, etc. But it was rough. It was rough, you know, at the end for Wenger. But yeah, you know, big up Wenger, man.
I don't think
it's for me, like I can't, you know, I don't really go back in time and look at, you know, the managers and stuff. But for me, he was just absolutely phenomenal. And my memories of growing up and watching Arsenal was all Wenger. You know, regardless of how it ended, he was an absolute marvelous manager. And he's an amazing person. And I think that really comes across as well. Even if you're a neutral fan, if you watch that documentary and you see how the players speak about him and just how he carries himself and stuff, you know, he's a phenomenal human being. So yeah, man, big up Wenger, man.
I think Arteta would have learnt a lot of him as well.
Yeah.
They used to have a lot of conferences, didn't they, when he was
Yeah.
So if you think about the managers that Arteta's had and who's been around in the last 15 years of his career, he's been around Arsene Wenger, David Moyes, and Pep. So he's been around good. He's been around good people. He's had a good mix of managers that he can take experience from and know-how from, and build his own what he's building. Because I think what he's done in the last I mean, there's so many things like the getting rid of Aubameyang and even like down to signing Willian and Louise and all them things. We knew that he was going to get some signings wrong, but now it's just totally come back and it's totally
it's taking shape, man. It's taking shape.
It's so comparing it to the Arsene Wenger time for me. It's just as clear as that, really is.
Yeah, definitely. No, man, good discussion, man. Good discussion. Neil here. Good evening, Neil again. Arteta is ensuring that everyone that is involved is a part of any award the club or him receives. Yeah, big up Arteta. The way he's doing things, I must say, I'm very, very pleased with. But you know what? Some really good discussion there with regards to points. Obviously, at this point in the show, we are going to move over to what we're here to do, which is to preview the game on Monday night, I believe it is, 8 p.m. kickoff against away to Crystal Palace. But before we do that, we're going to take a real short break, and we'll see you on the other side. Yes, so if at any point, obviously, you guys who have been staying with us, obviously, we've been on air for over an hour already. Please do, if you haven't already, do like the video, do click on the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. And obviously, any gooners you know that haven't liked or haven't subscribed to the channel, please do get them to do the same also. Massively appreciate your support as always. But yeah, the second half of the show, we're not going to be on the air for too much longer, but we are here to obviously preview the Crystal Palace game, which is taking place on Monday night at Selhurst Park, 8 p.m. kickoff. Now, what I've done is I've put together a team. Now, before we talk about the team and stuff, just want to do a big shout out, big up to Martin, Gunforce Edits, who is our graphics guy officially. He's put this lineup together. Absolutely amazing work as ever. So yeah, just a massive shout out to Martin and Gunforce Edits. In terms of, creating our graphics and stuff like that, we're forever thankful. He put together my G Talks Arsenal header on Twitter. He's done a recent one for Stephen SB Chats. So yeah, amazing work as always, and it looks absolutely fantastic, Martin. So thank you very much. But yeah, so this lineup I put together. I thought to myself, you know what, I'm gonna have a go at it because I know, Bobby, you're gonna have an opinion on it. I know you're gonna critique it if you can, but for me, I've gone with Leno in goal. And the reason why I've gone with Leno in goal is mainly due to the fact that I don't really know what the situation is with Ramsdale. There may have been an update, but I've not been online too tough over the last week or so. So I've gone with Leno in goal. I had my doubts about Leno coming in for the Villa game, I have to be honest. And that was mainly not so much to do with his performance in goal, but more to do with his distribution and how that would maybe impact the way we play football. However, I think he was instrumental in that win as part of the team. And I think if you could see just by the final whistle, the way the lads embraced him with that kind of final save he made at the end, I'm confident enough at this point for him to kind of continue, simply because I really don't know what the situation is with regards to Ramsdale. I know he had to withdraw from the England squad, so chances are he won't be ready for Monday. I've gone with Tomiyasu at right back just because it's pretty much been confirmed that he is fully fit. And he has been training on a regular basis. I don't think he was away with Japan on international duty, so he's been at London Colney kind of preparing for the game. I wouldn't, I wouldn't bat an eyelid. I wouldn't feel away if Cedric started. I'd be happy for Cedric to start. It's not really at the moment. I think in a perfect world, I prefer Tomiyasu, but really and truly, the way Cedric's playing at the moment, there's no reason why I would drop him. But I do want to see Tomiyasu feature in this game at some point if he doesn't start, and obviously over the next 8 or 9 games. But I'm going to go with Tomiyasu playing at right back. Also, bearing in mind, Cedric has been away on international duty with Portugal. I'm starting with Ben White and Gabriel. No surprises there. Both have played for England and Brazil in the international break. They're forming a formidable and phenomenal partnership at the back. And to be honest, the two names explain itself at this point. Tierney at left back, he is first choice. Tavares came in, he hit the ground running. He's been a little bit rocky since. He's young, he's developing, but this is the money end of the season. And for me, Tierney is the first team left back, and I can't see no reason not to pick him, to be honest. In midfield, big up Partey, took Ghana to the World Cup 2022, had an absolute blinder of a game, scored the goal that took Ghana to the World Cup finals. He has to start in the middle with some call him 34 on this channel. I'm going to call him Xhaka. But yeah, so Partey and Xhaka in the middle. I you know what? Like I said, you know, he's not my favorite player. He's not the player that I personally feel like Arsenal should have in the midfield moving forward. At the end of the day, he's the best we've got. And since he's come back into the side after, I think his last suspension, for me, he's been nothing but faultless. I think he's put in some really good performances. And like I said, we are a much better team when he is alongside Partey than when he's not. So for me, it makes perfect sense.
Did you say his last suspension?
I think it wasn't it? Hasn't he? He's featured since
he got injured.
Oh wait, but wasn't it Man City where he got sent off though?
Yeah, that was ages. That was right at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
That was one of the 3 games we lost at the beginning. He got injured against Spurs in the Spurs win.
So he's not been sent off since that Spurs game.
He's not been sent off. He's only had 1 booking, and that was the Villa game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like there was a suspension in the middle.
Everyone thinks that he'd be suspended.
Yeah.
It's that, isn't it? You know what I mean? That's why I started laughing when you said since his suspension, he come back from being injured. And if you remember right, he had a grade 3. He had a grade 3 AC tear. Yeah, which is supposed to be off for 3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
I know, I'm a medical. Yeah, he was back. Yeah. He was back after 8 weeks. He's different class, that kid. He's strong. He's built. You know what I'm saying? So carry on.
You know what? When we come off this stream, I'm gonna check that one out. You know, because I'm sure there was a red card in there somewhere. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out. But yeah, Xhaka and Partey in the midfield for sure, 100%. I have no doubts those two are gonna start. And I have no doubt that they're going to have a good game. Odegaard in the number 10 position. He's gone off international duty with Norway. Absolutely had a blinder. Played really well. So for me, he just kind of slots back into that side. I've gone with Pepe on the right. And that's simply because... And it's not a case of Saka being a guaranteed first-team starter, because obviously we all know, I think between the two, if they're both fit and they're both firing, Arteta's going to pick Saka. But for me... Saka had COVID. He missed out on the international break. For me, in both the game against France in particular and against England, I thought Pepe looked good. He looked tidy. And I think, you know what? Between now and the end of the season, I can definitely see Pepe, you know, having an impact, you know, on the run-in. So I'm going to pick Pepe on the right-hand side. I'm going to stick with Martinelli on the left. I know ESR is fit. But to be honest, right now, I can't see any legitimate reason for not picking him on the left. I think he's been absolutely amazing. I see the skill that he did in one of the Brazilian games, and oh my word, it was just out of this world. The guy is literally buzzing off life, off football at the moment. And, you know, I just want that to continue. And I want that to continue against Palace. Lacazette, for me, you know, him and a couple of other guys, they took part in a behind closed doors game against Brentford, which we won 4-1. I know he scored a hat-trick. So he wasn't off in international duty. So hopefully, you know, he's had a little chance to rest up, you know, kind of recharge the battery. So I think in terms of our number 9, you know, this season, and the guy that's going to, you know, lead the line in what is a very young and inexperienced team that is playing well, I think it's not rocket science to pick him and put him in that position. So that's the lineup. That's the kind of rationale behind it. Obviously, what do you make of the lineup, Bobby? And would you do anything different for the Palace game?
For me personally, I'd just keep it as it was. I wouldn't bring Tommy Asu in. He hasn't played. When was the last time he played? I don't even remember the last time he played. He can't start.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah, you can't start a guy against... he's not only playing against Zaha. Someone said Zaha's going to be playing. I'm sure he's out of the game. I think he's got a hamstring.
There's rumours that Zaha and Elise possibly won't be playing.
Yeah, so that would be massive for us, because they're very good players. And Elise come on and changed the game. Remember, he got the assist for Edouard. He scored the winner in the last game. I'll keep the rest of the team the same. Saying that you'd play Xhaka, for me, Xhaka, you know what I say about Xhaka. it's almost like that same thing with the back four. Nobody would have rated any of them to come in and do what they've done.
Yeah.
But nobody would have rated Xhaka to do what he's doing. But for me, he's just doing what he's always done since the day we signed him. It's just that people don't really see. People only really see the bad things about Xhaka. So for me, Xhaka for me is probably one of Mikel's first names on the team sheet. He was inconsistent. You got to remember, he was consistent when Partey was inconsistent. Partey's been inconsistent for 18 months. Xhaka's been consistent.
The proof's in the pudding, because Arteta had him in the squad before he was injured, and once he came back from injury, he put him right back in the team. And then
what? The proof's in the pudding, really. We lost against Everton. He came back in the team, and we've only lost against Liverpool and Man City since. So I think soon the Xhaka rhetoric is going to totally die, because he's more than worthy of his place in the team. Everyone looking at his replacement, I think we need to find another player like him, who's got probably a bit younger, a little bit more mobile. But replacing him, I think we need to keep that guy in the squad for the rest of his career, personally. The rest of the team, all of them, you said about Cedric's been away on international duty. Most of them have been away on international duty. Pepe's been away on international duty. You're still going to play him. So for me, the fact they've been away on international duty wouldn't stop me from playing Cedric. I would just play Cedric because he's been the best player over the last how many games. He's been faultless. Tommy Yasu hasn't done anything to deserve to come straight back into the team. And for me, he didn't do anything amazing in the first part that Cedric hasn't done in this part. So that I'd look at. The
real
other
competition
thing,
there, isn't it, for that right back spot now? I said real competition now for that right back.
I'd say they were equal, personally. And just going off key a little bit. When I watch Norton Coffey, he's got something that the two of them haven't got. He's got all the attacking attributes as well. So next season will be very interesting to see what Mikel does there. The big thing with me with Pepe is Pepe played against Tyreek Mitchell against England. I didn't see Pepe once. I don't know whether I'm going to be starting him against Tyreek Mitchell again Monday night. On a Monday night, a cold Monday night.
Who would you start then?
Either ESR comes in there or Saka plays. Saka for me, everyone's worried, he's had COVID. Saka's built different. Saka gets kicked every single week and plays the next game. The only game that he missed was when he got assaulted against Crystal Palace in the last time. The fact he got assaulted in the last game would say to me that he might have a point to prove in this game. So I play Saka very long. He hasn't played for England. He got sent back from the England camp before the Ivory Coast game. He's been rested. He's been at home, eating some of Mummy's cooking, eating some beef ribs. He's getting ready to go, my bro. Don't worry. He's ready. He wants to get us into the Champions League. He wants to hear that music at the Emirates on a Wednesday night.
We all want to hear it. We want to hear it, man. We want to hear it.
No, plays for me, bro. Saka plays for me. He starts. Saka and Cedric, don't break it up. Saka, Cedric, other guy. They've had a beautiful triangle on that ride. I don't want to see nothing different from that.
Okay. Nice. So obviously the game itself kicks off obviously at 8 p.m. on Monday. I believe that the Callan Chatter team will be doing a chat along for that. So do keep posted, guys, because we did our first chat along the other night. Commiserations obviously to the Arsenal women who went out to Wolfsburg. But we did our first chat along for the channel, something that we are, introducing. We will be doing
the goal as well. It was the player that she used to play for Arsenal. I'm sure she played for Arsenal last year.
I'm not too sure. Man, that's it. But so Monday night we will be doing a chat along, Palace versus Arsenal. So do stay tuned for that. Obviously, updates via Twitter and YouTube. Turn on those notifications so you don't miss out. But obviously, like the game itself is, a massive game. 9 games to go till the end of the season. On paper, no games in the Premier League are easy. We've got some real tough games going away to some real tough grounds. But how do you see this game? Because obviously Palace are playing well at the moment. Patrick Vieira's gone there, and he's, I think there might have been question marks about, Vieira's appointment. He was in France with Nice. He's not done massively well or really kind of, made waves anywhere he's been. But for me, I feel like he's done all right. They're mid-table at the moment. They're playing pretty well. He's got them playing some really good football. How do you see this game going, Crystal Palace versus Arsenal?
it's going to be a very, very tricky game. But away at Crystal Palace on a Monday night with their fans behind them the way that they are, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
But if Zaha and Olise are out, that's massive because Elise was one of the players from Reading that I actually wanted us to sign.
Yeah, you rave about this kid.
That kid is extraordinary. I've seen him as well. I've seen him as a kid. He's extraordinary. He's brilliant. He's some players you watch when they get the ball, the game slows down. He's one of them. He got the assist in the game. He came on. He came on in I think the 70th minute, and he got an assist in the 70th. When we played at the Emirates, he was the one that got the goal before Lacazette scored the equaliser for Edouard. The kid's different class, so if he's not playing and Zaha's not playing, that'll be a massive plus for us.
Yeah, big
because their defense isn't great. We can get at them definitely, and we're on a pump at the minute. We're playing well. I've got confidence in the team. I think we'll probably go there and win 1-0, or we'll batter them 4-1 or something. If we want one or the other, but I think we'll get the win. I'm confident that we're going to get 9 points out of the next 3 games, to be honest.
Okay, cool. Because we're confident of the win. You know what? I've got to kind of just echo everything you said, to be honest. I think you hit the nail on the head. This is definitely going to be a tricky game. You know, Palace have proven this season that, you know, not only can they get good results against some good sides, but they've also been quite unfortunate. I remember, particularly in the beginning part of the season, they were playing some fantastic football and not really getting the results they deserved. So, yeah, it's going to be a tricky game. Just when you put it all into context, you know, they're in good form. They've got some really good players. It's a Monday night. It's freezing cold. It's going to be a potential banana skin. But I think all games in the Premier League are potential banana skins. And every time I doubt this Arsenal side, they prove me wrong. So, you know, I'm not going to say I'm massively confident because, to be honest, I'm just trying to keep my feet on the ground as much as possible between now and the end of the season. But, yeah, I feel like the lads can go there and do a job. In terms of score predictions for tonight's show, like obviously those of you who are joining us for the first time, we do have a fans score prediction. So the first person to put a score prediction in the chat for this game on Monday night will be our charity bet. Our charity bet goes to basically the Northern Ireland Air Ambulance. That is a chosen charity for this season. And that's basically because it's a charity that's close to Stephen's heart, who is one of the co-hosts for Canon Chatter. They recently saved the life of one of his best friends. They're completely self-funded. They don't receive any funding from the government. So we want to try and do our bit, as small as it is, to kind of help them along their way so that they can kind of remain to obviously exist and help people and save people's lives. So we're going to have the bet. Now, what I will do, Gio Guna has got the first score in at 2-0. What I will do, Gio Guna, is I will take that scoreline. I will get the actual odds. If Stephen is watching, he'll probably ping them to me. But if not, I'll update you what the odds are after the show, Gio Guna, because you know me and you speak all the time in the DM, so it's cool. I'll probably tweet it out what the odds are and what the returns will be. But we will place a £1 bet on a 2-0 win for Arsenal, and any winnings will go to the Northern Ireland Air Ambulance. So I'll update you what that is either before the end of the show or after when I tweet it out. In terms of your score prediction, I know you kind of mentioned what you thought the score might be, but what are you going with regards to score predictions for this game, Bobby?
Cold Monday night away from home against Palace. We're a good team, good coach, play good football. It's not going to be easy because our styles kind of clash, don't they? We play football, or they do the same. So I think it's going to be tight. It could be one of those games where the first goal is going to be really important. They could get the first goal, sit back, defend, and then we're trying to find that second goal. They could hit us on the break and win the game. Yeah. Or we could get the first game. They'll open up. First goal, they'll open up, and then we batter them. But as I said before, cold Monday night at Crystal Palace after international break. I think we just get a nice tight 1-0 win. We'll go ahead in the first half, and I think we just sit back. Bring from holding and go 5 at the back.
No problem. So you're gonna go 1-0 win. I'm gonna go 2-1. 1-0 Martinelli. 1-0 Martinelli. So Bobby's scoreline is 1-0 Martinelli. My scoreline is 2-1 Arsenal. So I will write those down and forward them to Stephen because we've got a little competition ourselves within the Canon Chatter team as well. Just gonna go to the comments now at this point. Felby, nice preview this. Thank you so much. I think that's a new name in the chat. So welcome to the channel. Please do like the video and do subscribe if you haven't already. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you know any other Arsenal fans, Gooners, anybody at all, you know, that loves football, loves Arsenal, please do encourage them to watch also. But welcome to the show, Felby. Gio Guna here saying 2-0 to the Arsenal. Riddy Sakar saying 1-1. Yeah, 1-1. Yeah, I can see it. I can see why you said it. Definitely. Gio Guna, cool. I think that's in response to, and there he is, like clockwork. Stephen's done it already. 2-1, 2-0 to the Arsenal is 8-1, so we'll return £9. So Gio Guna and everybody watching, we're going to put a £1 bet on that. Obviously, let's hope we get the win. Let's hope we get a 2-0 win so that we can obviously donate £9 to the Northern Ireland Air Ambulance. So thank you so much. Cannon Chatter TV, I'm assuming that's Stephen's scoreline, which is 3-1 Arsenal. Hopefully, you've written it down. I've gone 2-1 Arsenal. Bobby's gone 1-0 Arsenal. Gio Guna's gone 2, and you've gone 3-1. So all we need to do is get Lee and Lottie's scoreline, and maybe even Jim to throw in a scoreline as well. Gordon Gunner, 2-0 to the Arsenal. Thank you, Gordon Gunner. Not too familiar with that name. I don't know if it's been in the chat before, but welcome to the show. If you have been here before, apologies for not recognizing the name. But if you haven't, and this is the first time you're here, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. And yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of obviously, you know, kind of content, what we wanted to go through and so forth. The only last thing that I want to kind of touch on and kind of bring the show not on a downer, but just more of a kind of, you know, solemn and kind of, you know, more kind of respectful and reflective tone before we end the show. I want to bring up this image of Rocky Rocastle. Obviously, most of us will know that, you know, it was his anniversary yesterday. You know, if you're an Arsenal fan and you can see the timeline, you will see that, you know, there was loads of tributes from, you know, Arsenal's official Twitter account, lots of Arsenal fans putting up tribute videos and so forth. So, yeah, obviously, rest in peace, RIP to Rocky Rocastle. In terms of, you know, my kind of thoughts, obviously, it's always sad, you know, when you are, you know, kind of experiencing, you know, a person's kind of anniversary of their death, etc. For me, as an Arsenal fan, he came a little bit before my time. I believe he joined the club in 85 till 92. However, I think the impact he had at Arsenal transcended his period at the club. And, you know, that's clear because, you know, somebody for me who was born in 84, you know, a year before he actually joined the club. And by the time he was 92, you know, I was only about 8 years old. I wasn't even really watching football at the time or even going to the stadiums. But I know exactly who he was, and I know exactly the impact that he had on the club. So just want to obviously pay our respects from the whole Cannon Chatter team and from the whole Arsenal fan base on what was obviously a day yesterday of sadness, but obviously a day also to celebrate the impact and the influence and inspiration that the man did for all Arsenal fans, many of which are Arsenal fans because of him. Any words with regards Rocky Rocastle from you, Bobby?
Yeah, man, I remember when he passed. I remember him as a player, but I think he passed when he passed the. I think he passed 2000 or 2001.
Yeah, it was around that period. Yeah,
yeah, it was a somber time, man. But yeah, he was a great player. He was one of those classic wingers, you know, the classic wingers. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't watch lots of his games around 92 because I'd have been 40. To be honest, I didn't watch lots of the games then, but you always remember him when he scored a good goal on Match of the Day, and it was quite regular. Merson were like a big part of the team round about them, wasn't they? So he was a quality player. Obviously, it was a shame what happened to him. Came through the Arsenal academy as well, so his roots were all Arsenal, along with a lot of the other guys there as well, Davis and Ian Wright and stuff. So yeah, man, it was obviously Wright didn't come through the academy, but they all grew up in the same area and stuff and had the same dreams and aspirations and pushed each other. Wright mentions him loads in his book.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he was a legend, man. It's always good to have legends recognised, you know, like as good as they were. It's always good to keep them in our memories. You know what I'm saying? And man, show the respect that they deserve
100%.
Because they put us on that high level. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he was a class player, brilliant.
Yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, RIP to Rocky Rocastle. Obviously, you know, the Arsenal fan base, you know, did him proud with regards, obviously, all the tributes yesterday, and just sending condolences. You know, most of it, well, it's very unlikely that they'll be watching this, but you know, it doesn't really matter. Sending condolences, thoughts and prayers, obviously, to his family and friends that knew him personally. So yeah, that pretty much kind of rounds up the show. With regards, obviously, looking at the Palace game and all the content. I've seen here that we've got some comments flying in. Lee Meadows has gone 3-0, so all we need is Lottie's scoreline. Oh, it's DG. Okay, no problem. I know now. So I'm gonna know it's you, yeah? I just didn't recognize the Gordon gun. Yeah, I know.
You're Gordon the Gopher.
Yeah, no problem. And yeah, really, Sakar saying thoughts on the World Cup group draw. And Lee has answered that question already. Hi, really, World Cup covered at the start of the show. So yeah, please do go back and watch the beginning of the show. And then Gordon Gunner obviously laughing because I obviously know exactly who you are, my bro. But yeah, that kind of brings up the end of the show. In terms of shows coming up, so like I said a little bit earlier on in the show, we have our second official chat along taking place on Monday night at 8 p.m, which is going to be hosted, I believe, by Lee Meadows, who is in the chat. I'm going to do my very best to obviously tune in and, well, not just tune in, appear on that. But I've also got to kind of tweak a couple of family arrangements. So hopefully I'll be on that. But we will be live. I'm not sure what time on Monday night, but obviously just, you know, keep an eye out on the official Callan Chatter Twitter account. Obviously turn on those notifications so you can get updates with regards to our YouTube content coming out. But we will be live before the game, obviously during the game and after the game, with regards to chat along on Monday night. The actual review show of the Palace game on Monday night will be taking place on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Stephen will be back. Not sure who with at this point, but he will be back and hosting that show on Tuesday night, where we'll get all reaction with regards to the Palace game. Last couple of comments before we round things up. We've got Jamie here. Here, G. Rocky will always be part of the Arsenal, 100%, Jamie. Evening to you, Jamie. Thanks for tuning in, as always. One of our loyal and very appreciative fans. Callan Chatter TV, Lottie doing a chat along on Sunday at 12 for the Leicester as well. Thank you so much for reminding me. So Lottie will be doing a chat along on Sunday at 12 for the Leicester game, and that's the Arsenal ladies. And Lee Meadows' time to be announced on Monday. So yeah, that pretty much kind of sums everything up. If there's any kind of last questions or talking points, anything like that, ping that in the chat now before we round things up. But yeah, Bobby, any last thoughts just to kind of round up the show, looking ahead to Monday? Any plans this weekend? Just talk to me, bro.
I'm working tomorrow, aren't I? So
yeah. Same here, man. Same here.
I'm looking forward to hitting the sack in a bit, man. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
And I'm actually a manager on a Sunday, so I run a Sunday team. I'm quite good. So, but our season's finished, and we're actually in the final. So we're waiting on another team the team who are second. We're top. The team who are second have got to play against another team to win.
Big game.
And if they win, they'll win the league. But if they don't win, we win the league. So that game's going to come up in a couple of weeks, and we're in a cup final as well. So this Sunday will be the first Sunday I've had off in a long time. So relax this Sunday, and then it's back to work again next weekend, isn't it? You know what I mean? But
it's crazy.
It's all about the game. I actually tried to get a ticket for the game, but it's away games now because we've been playing well. Impossible to get tickets.
Yeah. I hear you.
Everyone wants to watch us now, you know. So
I hear you, man.
Yeah, man. Monday is all about watching the game Monday night, isn't it?
Definitely.
The game. Mrs. normally works on a Monday, so I get the kids to bed. It's Arsenal, isn't it, man? Let's go. Come on, you gooners.
100%. Definitely. We've got really Sakar here saying, night, everyone, up the Arsenal, 100% ready. Really, again, I'll be at the Leicester game for the game on Sunday. Wicked. Enjoy. Gio Guna, up the Gunners. Good night, fellas. Great show as always. Come on, you Gunners. Thank you so much, Gio, for your support as always. Have a good evening to yourself. Really, Sakar, all the best, Bobby. And then we have Keith here. Just to keep you on, what's your thoughts on second phase offside and zone? Listen, you see Keith here, he always does this. I'm not falling for it. I'm not doing it. We've been on the air an hour and 33 minutes, and we're coming off the air. Keith, I'm gonna send you a WhatsApp as soon as we come off the air. You know, he always tries it. You know, but you know what? It's been an amazing show. We've covered a lot of content, and you know what? I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really, really have. So yeah, man. Big up, obviously. Big up Arsenal. Massive game on Monday. Come on, you Gunners. And you know what? Until we're back on your screens, keep chatting, guys.
Take it easy, guys. Peace, man.